I'm sorry we're getting started a little bit late here. We had a meeting that ran way a little bit over, so I ask at this time please to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and prayer.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, very much always been in us your Savior. Thank you for this message that we've had. I want to pray for the families of our fire department, police department, service department, and our state. Also, we have a great Scott family and his wife, Ashley Mel,
Amen.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Smolik,
Here.
Mr. Ziegler,
Here.
Mr. Fenstermaker,
Here.
Mr. Hamer,
Here.
Mr. Lowry,
Here.
Mr. Rupel,
Here.
Mr. Scholes.
Here.
All right, thank you very much. Looking for the reading and approval of the minutes of the October 24th, 2022 Finance Committee meeting. I'm looking for a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Smolik, seconded by Councilman Fenstermaker. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, can you call the roll?
Mr. Smolik,
Yes.
Mr. Ziegler,
Yes.
Mr. Fenstermaker,
Yes.
Mr. Hamer,
Yes.
Mr. Lowry,
Yes.
Mr. Rupel,
Yes.
Mr. Scholes.
Yes.
Thank you. Moving on to the minutes of the October 24th, 2022 council meeting. Looking for a motion.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Fenstermaker and a seconded by Councilman Smolik. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Smolik,
Yes.
Mr. Ziegler,
Yes.
Mr. Fenstermaker,
Yes.
Mr. Hamer,
Yes.
Mr. Lowry,
Yes.
Mr. Rupel,
Yes.
Mr. Scholes.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Going on to department reports. I guess we'll start with you, Chief Hutton.
Thank you.
You haven't talked enough.
Formal report has been distributed. You guys have heard me talk for about 90 minutes straight. So other than that, I'm open for any questions if you have any for the fire department.
Much appreciated on the detailed meeting, Chief. Thank you for all the information.
Thanks.
Anyone else? All right, thank you. Chief McAllister.
Thank you, Council President Rupel. You have my report as well. The only thing that I would bring up is we put an ordinance amendment on for commercial vehicles traveling through Billings and Regency Woods. Signage was already posted by Service Department. We're just following up with the ordinance to have something enforceable for our guys when they're out there viewing these violations. It should reduce the wear and tear on the roads and also, reduce complaints from residents for the vehicles traveling through those areas. That'll conclude my report, and I'm open for any questions.
Any questions?
Chief, on the 12 fraud thing, is that that phone fraud type of stuff? Is that what you're still seeing a lot of?
I'm sorry, what, can you repeat?
Yeah, fraud in your report, the 12 cases, is that still a lot of that phone calls type stuff? Is that mainly what you're getting?
Yeah, unfortunately, one of those is a repeat person for several of those, but a lot of it's still phone scams, particularly with this individual, a little older and seemingly falling victim to whatever the schemes are. So we've been assisting her a lot on stopping some things and setting some things up to help her not fall victim to these things.
Thank you, Chief.
Any other questions? Thank you. Mr. Fernaro.
Good evening, everybody.
Not allowed to use the four-letter word.
I'm not allowed to use the four-letter word. It's in the
That's the word.
forecast. So another public service announcement. Weather is on its way. So please check your vehicles out, drive slow, be patient with our drivers. We do back up at intersections. So this is going to be part of the report moving forward. It's that time of year. Secondly, we finished up brush pickup in wards 2 and 3. We will start pickup in 1 and 4 next week. On a side note today, we have, I'm doing a mentoring program with Cleveland State. In the audience today, he's going to be showing up quite a bit here. His name is Gus. He's a senior at Cleveland State, going after a degree in public safety and administration. So he'll be shadowing me for a little bit. Hopefully we get him up and speak at the next meeting. That completes my report.
Thank
Does
you.
he have a CDL?
We're working on it.
And firefighter training. We're going to work on that as well.
He's going to be shadowing you, you said?
Yeah, so he was out a couple weeks ago, spent a couple hours with me. Told him we get to these meetings, so came to a good meeting tonight, and hopefully he comes back. For a
Well, I
couple
hope you
hours.
don't like this. I hope you don't like to sleep because Mr. Fernauer doesn't do a lot of that.
I have a quick question. Tall grasses, is that part of brush pickup?
It's not.
Okay. I was curious, so. Yeah, I would. Up, so that's why I was asking. So, yeah, no problem. We'll go in Mayor's
so-
backyard.
Since you went a little bit longer, the Smith House on the top of the hill, they should be wrapping up that construction Friday, weather permitting. So they're pouring concrete tonight, and that plate should be off the road by Friday.
Thank you. Any more questions? I appreciate it. Mr. Courtney.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. No formal report tonight, just one update. The Barbicas has completed the main contract street work last week. Reclamite went down on the street, so that completes the work for that project. We're finalizing quantities with Barbicas, and then they finished Kirtland Chardon Road repairs today. So that was between Chillicothe and what's the? No. Woodsway, thank you. All right. Yeah, thank you. Good guy over here. That completes my report. Happy to take any questions.
Doug, quick question. At the sewer project hearing that was held several days ago, did the commissioners vote on that yet?
I do not know.
Any other questions? All right, thank you. Mr. Slepnicker.
Thank you, Council Purple. The city received its 2023 healthcare rates. We participate in a county consortium with Lake County through 2023. So we did see an increase on our rates of 10%. So that will impact the budget for next year. We will be entering into a bank agreement with Huntington Bank. We did negotiate from a 50% pooled collateral to 102% pooled collateral. And what that means is they have to hold securities, in reserve at 102 deposits. So really, in short, this protects the city's deposits. We did, myself and Teresa have submitted the 2023 application for the senior levy. Teresa will be representing the city next Tuesday for a formal but yet short presentation. This is our typical, we've received $75,000 in the past on a reimbursement basis. On tonight's agenda, we do have several items. The first is the LGS contract, which is local government services, and they prepare our basic financial statements. We last had a contract with them in 2020 and 2021 at a cost of $10,500 per year. We're looking to enter into an agreement with them to prepare those financials for 2022 and 2023 for $12,600. So it is an increase of $2,100. LGS is great to work with, and I highly recommend that we continue our relationship with them. Again, they are through the Auditor of State's office as well. We have the CW Courtney engineering costs for the 2022 road project. Originally, council had passed a couple ordinances based on the estimated construction cost. Now that the actual construction costs are in, those are really a true up based on council's previous passage of CW Courtney's contract. I do ask that that be passed this evening as well. We have second reading for an amendment to the appropriations. It is a net effect of $0. We have a reduction that we're pulling from our cemeteries and adding the labor costs into our wastewater treatment plants in order to stay within our budgetary compliance. So again, it's a net effect of 0. And I do ask that that be passed this evening as well. We do have the finance director contract on the agenda as well. There is no change in dollar amount, and it is through April 30th of 2023, which really aligns that contract with the budget process for the city. Lastly, we do have the yearly bank depositories where we do list out, based on council approval, of the banks that we can do business with. We currently hold our deposits with Huntington Bank, which would be included in that legislation as well. And I would ask that that be passed this evening as well. That concludes my report, and I'm available for any questions.
Louis, rough guesstimate on what that 10% increase is going to cost the city?
Let me pull that. Can I get back to you in this meeting real quick?
Thank you, Louis. Chief McAllister, just a quick question. I actually didn't ask you this. We have the ordinance with respect to the commercial vehicles, or maybe Mr. Lotto could chime in. Is that something that you want passed today, or does it matter?
I don't think it needs to be passed today. We could go 3 readings if you'd like.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be. Did you say that there was a sign that was already up on the roadways, or no?
Yeah, what we've been doing in the interim is just doing traffic control devices when we've seen vehicles traveling through there against the signage that's posted. So we do have a way to enforce a traffic law. This just fits that particular signage.
Understood. So it's up to you if you want to let it go 3 readings, or you could pass it now. It doesn't matter. It just, there's a couple things with that. Just I was going to mention, it cleans it up, the ordinance. If you look at the actual ordinance right now, the title of it lists a bunch of the roads. It's not even all the roads that were listed in the ordinance, because it's been amended a couple times over the years. So now Chief McAllister was smart enough to just, kind of abbreviate that a little bit and just make sure everything's properly documented. So, but it's up to you guys. I'd have to pull up the ordinance itself to tell you.
Councilman Lowry, we have budgeted for 2022 $770,000 in medical benefits, so that additional 10% would be $77,000. Real quick, back to the Huntington Bank agreement. I'm not sure if I noted that the negotiation to get the pooled collateral up from 50% to 102% is no additional fee to the city as well. Our last agreement was in 2017 through, it expires at the end of this month, 2022. So our next agreement will be for the next 5 years through 2027.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Any other questions? Teresa, do you have anything for the senior center?
So I think most people probably saw, and thank you, Louis, for helping with the levy application from the county. Issue 5 did pass with about 74%. That renewal passed yesterday. So looking forward to that presentation on Tuesday, and thank you for your help with all of the numbers for that, of course. The mayor might speak a little bit more on that, but we did have trunk or treat right before Halloween. I cannot speak to what happened at the other 4 locations, but we had a blast at the community center. They managed to fit the brush truck inside the portico. It does fit. We didn't think it would. And thanks to the service department for putting up the sides of the outside so the kids could be outside in that nasty weather we had. So we had seniors out, fire department, giving out candy, and we had easily over 100 kids come join us, even in the bad weather. It was a wonderful evening, at least down at the community center. We have our annual Veterans Lunch tomorrow. If anyone's around and wants to say hi to about 70 seniors around noon, we will have a service with the American Legion and a lunch tomorrow. I think that might conclude it. If anyone has any questions, I am available.
Any questions? No, thank you for your report. Mr. Lilo?
Thank you, Mr. Council President. Just to touch base on when that ordinance was originally passed for the commercial vehicles, it was passed in 98 and then amended in 08. So it has been touched in 14 years. Yep. Actually, just trying to keep you up to date. It's been fairly busy over here over the last really couple months with various meetings with city officials. I've attended a number of meetings with Eddie Eckert, doing economic development questions and running stuff by me. I actually have a meeting with Mr. Courtney scheduled for, I think, this Friday to review the zoning code so that we can try to provide some potential amendments or proposals to planning and zoning and the council to try to clean it up, make it a little bit more user-friendly and uniform throughout the city. Also, we've had a number of meetings with Teresa and Mayor Potter regarding, and others, regarding Lexipol and policies and procedures. We have a meeting that we're trying to get arranged in the next couple of weeks so that we have the final draft and going to try to have that finalized as well coming up in the near future. Let's see, last week we met with the attorney representing the city in the litigation that we have right now, and a number of other people with that. And then lastly, I did have a couple different meetings with some police officers in the city in a prosecutorial role as it relates to various investigations, and they've done a great job with all of that, very thorough, and have just done a marvelous job. But it's been fairly busy over the last few weeks or so. But that's about all I have for you, unless you have questions for me.
Any questions? Thank you. Mayor Potter?
Thank you, Council President Rupel. Very quickly, wanted to thank everybody that came out and worked hard on behalf of issue 6. Came up quite short last night, so our residents and taxpayers definitely spoke. But nonetheless, I want to thank the council for putting that legislation up, getting that to the ballot, giving our voters a chance to, weigh in and decide if they wanted to commit further dollars to fixing our roads. So having said that, and that we came up short, I think we'll be getting together soon here with Mr. Courtney and Mr. Finaro to start the framework and conversations related to what is the best path forward, what can we get done next year, what kind of budget, what might we be looking at, and obviously the finance director will play a big part into that. Having said that, and mentioning the finance director, if we could tonight, please pass. What do we got? We got resolution 22-R-68, the reappointment of Lewis for the rest of his contract, extend the contract. If we could pass that by emergency tonight, that would be great. I think meeting in and meeting out, Lewis proves himself not only worthy, but it takes our finance discussions to another level. So thank you to Mr. Slepnicker, and I would appreciate council if they pass that tonight. On 11/22, Teresa, did you mention the ecumenical services at Divine Word? So annually over at one of the churches here in town, this year it's going to be at Divine Word, 6:30, 7 o'clock. So it's always a great event with all the churches coming together. But so before I forget, I just wanted to mention that. Come on out. I know Councilman Smolik is always there. Area Service Council does come there, and they do so much good here in the city, and there's always a collection during that service and ceremony. So really good opportunity for the community. So we talked about Lewis, talked about the roads. Thanks tonight for a really good discussion here for about an hour and a half related to the possible grant award, or the grant award that could become a possibility or reality here in the city. I think council's doing their job and looking, deeply at listening, number one, to the needs of the fire department. Weighing safety is, it has to be number one, right? And so listening to the chief and having these conversations having Mr. Slapnicker prepare the numbers that he prepared, doing all the work that he does, and you guys had some really good questions, and I think it was a really good dialogue. I would say, you know, we definitely, one of the things that we talked about was, you know, how are we going to pay for this in the future when the grant runs out, right? And that's always an important piece of anything. But again, you know, there is no balance with safety. You have to make safety first. So I think that at that next meeting, whatever conversation comes about, I think we should definitely be talking about what kind of off-ramps, if in fact council and the city decides to move forward with taking that grant on, and what kind of off-ramps could be in place as to prepare ourselves and, you know, most protect the city financially for the long run. So I think we can do a little bit of work there. I'll work with the chief and Lewis specifically on that to come up with some ideas to make sure we're protecting the city here long-term financially. And with that, I think, so Lewis had mentioned the wastewater treatment facilities and we're going to be moving some money here in our budget amendment. And, that has to do with those wastewater treatment facilities. We talked time and again about a utilities commission meeting. I think it's time that Mr. Ruppel and I talk about setting a date for that meeting, and then we'll get probably have a sit down with Lewis and Joe leading up to that. And I think the law director is a part in that meeting as well. But anyhow, so we will keep you informed about that. Nothing else from me. I will take any questions.
Mayor, could you mention the Veterans Day service, what time that might kick off?
Teresa, what time is that, noon?
Tomorrow at the senior center for lunch.
It's 11. It's 11 for the ceremony, right, Joe? The 11th at 11. Thank you, Joe. Other questions?
Any other questions? All right. Thank you, Mayor. What do we got up to? Standing committee reports. Obviously, we had an hour and a half long meeting prior to this one. A joint meeting with fire, police, and finance. I don't think there's any other standing committee reports we have at this time. In terms of correspondence, I guess as council, we did receive something. It was on my desk as I walked in from NOPEC announcing a meeting with the General Assembly November 15th, 2022 at 10 a.m. And obviously anyone here is welcome to take one of these. I'm just making you alert of this correspondence received from the city. I know it's been kind of a hot issue along the community. Now we're up to public comments on matters that are not on the agenda. It's an opportunity for anyone from the public, if they'd like to come forward, to ask or inquire or comment on matters not on tonight's agenda. Is there anybody that would like to do that? All right, I'm not seeing any movement. So we're on to old business. Now we're to public comments on agenda items of old business. Another opportunity for the public to come forward, but this is limited to old business on tonight's agenda. And I see a hand raised, so again, as usual, state your name and address.
Sharon Viscasilla, 8415 North Locust. Just curiosity for Lewis. We used to have Mary Kowalczyk. She was the director and you were the assistant director. So now that you're the director, is she out of the picture, and are we responsible for any monies due her?
She's actually still contracted on a month-to-month basis under the previous legislation that council has passed. And she is acting as the assistant finance director.
Good question. Thank you. Any other public comments on agenda items of old business? I do not see any. So moving on, resolution number 22-R-65. This is a third reading. Resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with Local Government Services, LGS, from the Ohio Auditor of State's Office to provide assistance in the preparation of basic financial statements for the city and declaring an emergency.
Motion to declare an emergency and adopt.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Schultz, seconded by Councilman Smolik. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Smolik?
Yes.
Mr. Ziegler?
Yes.
Mr. Fenstermaker?
Yes.
Mr. Hamer?
Yes.
Mr. Lowry?
Yes.
Mr. Rupel?
Yes.
Mr. Scholes?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Moving on, resolution number 22-R-66. This is also a third reading. Resolution memorializing the fees of the C.W. Courtney Company for all of its engineering services for the 2022 street repair and maintenance project and declaring an emergency.
Motion to declare an emergency and adopt?
Second.
I think we had a motion by Councilman Smolik, and there was someone over here, seconded by Councilman Ziegler. Any discussion? Hearing none, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Smolik?
Yes.
Mr. Ziegler?
Yes.
Mr. Fenstermaker?
Yes.
Mr. Hamer?
Yes.
Mr. Lowry?
Yes.
Mr. Rupel?
Yes.
Mr. Scholes?
Yes.
Okay, moving on, ordinance number 22-0-67. This is a second reading, an ordinance amending ordinance number 22-0-45 relating to the appropriation for the year 2022. I understand it's a second reading, but I believe we need to get this passed.
Motion to waive the 3 readings?
Second.
Motion by Councilman Smolik, seconded by Councilman Lowry. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Smolik?
Yes.
Mr. Ziegler?
Yes.
Mr. Fenstermaker?
Yes.
Mr. Hamer?
Yes.
Mr. Lowry?
Yes.
Mr. Rupel?
Yes.
Mr. Scholes?
Yes. Motion to declare an emergency and adopt.
It would actually just be adopt.
Adopt.
There we go.
Motion by Councilman Ziegler, seconded by Councilman Lowry. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Smolik?
Yes.
Mr. Ziegler?
Yes.
Mr. Fenstermaker?
Yes.
Mr. Hamer?
Yes.
Mr. Lowry?
Yes.
Mr. Rupel?
Yes.
Mr. Scholes?
Yes.
Thank you. Resolution number 22-R-68, second reading. Resolution confirming the reappointment of Louis Slapnecker as a part-time finance director for the city of Kirtland pursuant to contract and to the extent of this contractual arrangement only, and declaring an emergency.
Motion to waive the 3 readings?
Second.
Motion by Councilman Lowry, seconded by Councilman Smolik. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Smolik?
Yes.
Mr. Ziegler?
Yes.
Mr. Fenstermaker?
Yes.
Mr. Hamer?
Yes.
Mr. Lowry?
Yes.
Mr. Rupel?
Yes.
Mr. Scholes?
Yes.
Motion to declare an emergency and adopt?
Second.
Motion by Councilman Lowry, seconded by Councilman Fenstermaker. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Smolik?
Yes.
Mr. Ziegler?
Yes.
Mr. Fenstermaker?
Yes.
Mr. Hamer?
Yes.
Mr. Lowry?
Yes.
Mr. Rupel?
Yes.
Mr. Scholes?
Yes.
Congratulations, Louis. We really appreciate the hard work you put in for the city. All right, moving on. Resolution number 22-R-69. This is a second reading, a resolution authorizing the mayor to accept a grant from the state of Ohio from the second round of the Ohio First Responder Recruitment, Retention, and Resilience Program and declaring an emergency. And I believe, what's that?
Let me know if you're open to another 5:30 start, if you felt that that was enough time for the discussion, or if you want to cut a little.
Can we push it to 6?
6? Okay.
I think we could do the final 6 o'clock works for me.
Okay. Mayor, does that coincide with any work session that you anticipate? That's fine. Okay.
Chief?
All right.
At least you'll be there.
Okay.
I will
Again,
be
any
there.
questions please send them to the chief so we get the materials out to everybody in advance.
Councilman Schultz, real quick, that week, I may or may not be available for that meeting. We have 2 payrolls running in 2 days, which we normally have a week to do. So that might need my attention late into the evening possibly to get that all taken care of. But I'll let council know and keep you updated on that as well.
And just to clarify, it's another joint finance, police, fire standing committee meeting.
Okay, so you're certain you won't be there, so maybe.
I'll do my best to be there.
Well, I don't think we should have the meeting if you're not there. I
Yeah,
think you're an
exactly.
important piece of this discussion.
Okay, I'll send out something to throw some dates out there. It just might need to be a separate one from the meeting.
Can we go back on the,
It's the week of Thanksgiving, so with the holiday, Thursday and Friday being, and then I'm actually leaving town on Wednesday, so we got a quick little turnaround.
Okay, I'll have to get with you then. Okay, thank you.
So it's Pilgrims and Indians. All right. Resolution, where are we up to? New business, I'm sorry. Public comment on agenda items of new business. Again, an opportunity for the public to come forward if you'd like. We're addressing these 2 items we have on tonight's agenda.
Set up another service committee meeting?
Yes, please.
Okay, very good. You want to do that pre-post the next one, the next council meeting then?
Whenever you have time, weekend, we got some weather coming this weekend, but whenever you have time, please.
Yeah. After the next one, you're thinking? Yeah, I think let's tentatively put that on, Denise, for after the next council meeting. Thank you, Denise. I'll bring pizza. Bring the beer.
Mr. Smolk, what's the purpose of that meeting?
We discussing capital needs again on this one? Is that going to be the purpose?
Yes, sir.
Purpose, discuss capital equipment, capital needs.
Councilman
Thank you,
Schultz,
Mr. Lello.
real quick, why don't we just plan on having the 6 o'clock meeting before the council meeting? Because I can come in here for that hour, and then if I have to leave and head back over to the finance department, I will. Instead of having to schedule an additional night or, with everybody's schedule.
Okay, I'm fine with that. Is council fine with that? And we'll do a joint meeting as noticed previously, Denise. And if we could please have that put up on the website, that would be wonderful as well.
Thanks, Louis.
I appreciate the accommodation.
Why we hired him, right? There's
All right,
many
so
hours.
before someone was out of order, public comments on agenda items of new business? I don't see anyone appearing from the public here. Ordinance number 22-0-70, an ordinance designating the financial institutions as public depositories.
Motion to waive the 3 reading.
Yes, I would ask that it's passed, and then that way I can enter into
Motion to waive the 3 readings.
Motion by Councilman Smolik, seconded by Councilman Lowry. Is there any discussion?
Louis, but what's our savings rates moved to since the interest rates have moved significantly? Has that moved? Help us a bit.
Yes, it has. I had that number in front of me for not this finance committee meeting, but previously. It's moved quite a bit, but I can get you that exact number.
Okay, thank you.
Can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Smolik,
Yes.
Mr. Ziegler,
Yes.
Mr. Fenstermaker,
Yes.
Mr. Hamer,
Yes.
Mr. Lowry,
Yes.
Mr. Rupel,
Yes.
Mr. Schulz,
Yes.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Lowry, seconded by Councilman Smolik. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Smolik,
Yes.
Mr. Ziegler,
Yes.
Mr. Fenstermaker,
Yes.
Mr. Hamer,
Yes.
Mr. Lowry,
Yes.
Mr. Rupel,
Yes.
Mr. Schulz,
Yes.
finally, we have ordinance number 22-0-71, an ordinance amending codified ordinance section 440.11 relating to prohibiting commercial vehicles on certain streets within the city of Kirtland and declaring an emergency.
So this is all right, Chief, go second reading? Okay, thank you.
We have a motion,
Motion to waive the 3 readings.
Seconds?
a motion by Councilman Ziegler and seconded by Councilman Smollett. It can or it doesn't matter. Well, we have a motion and we have a second, and now we have to do a roll call. So then we can discuss.
Can I ask the law director a question? We can waive 3 readings and then amend it because I have a question in some of the language in the actual ordinance? Or should we try to amend it prior to waiving the 3 readings?
So if we amend it, it goes back to the second reading. Then you'll have to do another motion to waive the 3 readings after that, after it's amended. And then you could file to declare an emergency and adopt. So there'd be 4 motions. One is the current motion on the table. The second one is going to be to amend it. The third one is going to be to waive the 3 readings again. The fourth one would be to declare an emergency and adopt.
Unless Mr. Ziegler rescinds his initial motion. It's just a clarification. It's on point J. The word commercial isn't in that sentence, and I don't know if that's an oversight. And that's all I wanted to see could be amended.
It should include commercial. I think that's how it was in the original ordinance.
I'll recall it.
Yeah, rescind your motion.
Rescind my motion.
There we go. All right. Yeah.
Second.
I'd like to make a motion to amend section J to read, "No person shall drive a commercial motor vehicle upon Heath Road between Euclid Chardon Road and the city corporation line."
Thank you, Councilman Schulz. And that, just to be clear, that's only inserting one word as commercial between and motor, correct?
Yes, sir.
Second?
Any discussion on that motion? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Smolik?
Yes.
Mr. Ziegler?
Yes.
Mr. Fenstermaker?
Yes.
Mr. Hamer?
Yes.
Mr. Lowry?
Yes.
Mr. Rupel?
Yes.
Mr. Schulz?
Yes. Motion to waive the 3 readings.
Second again?
All right, motion to waive the 3 readings by Councilman Ziegler, seconded by Councilman Lowry. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Smolik?
Yes.
Mr. Ziegler?
Yes.
Mr. Fenstermaker?
Yes.
Mr. Hamer?
Yes.
Mr. Lowry?
Yes.
Mr. Rupel?
Yes.
Mr. Schulz?
Yes. Motion to declare an emergency and adopt. Second.
Motion by Councilman Schultz, seconded by Councilman Ziegler, was it? I think over there. It's you. Okay, I'm sorry. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Mr. Smolik?
Yes.
Mr. Ziegler?
Yes.
Mr. Fenstermaker?
Yes.
Mr. Hamer?
Yes.
Mr. Lowry?
Yes.
Mr. Rupel?
Yes.
Mr. Schulz?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Council comments. Anyone on council wish to provide comments this evening?
Happy birthday to Mr. Fenstermaker spending a long evening with us. Happy birthday.
All right, thank you. Continuing concerns, opportunity for the public once again to address council. I don't see anyone moving, so we'll move on to adjournment. I'm looking for a motion.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Lowry,